It's not a good spot for Mir to be in right now.
Only one image comes back, one idea, a concept, and it's surprising to Mir. It's odd. It's not what you would expect from this Kyber crystal. Brother. And there's a screenway. Afka brings out the food. One, he looks at the back of his hand. One dragax steak and one cola clawfish. He puts them on the table. Is there anything else I can do for you?
She smiles and shakes her head before looking at Blue.
And Blue smiles and shakes their head. Enjoy. And Afka walks away. It smells good.
She nods. Yours, so does yours. Would you like to try a piece?
Yeah, I'd love to.
She cuts off a small piece, enough to really get a good taste, but I'm figuring it's a bit chewy, so something that's easily manageable.
I think we need to have a date check.
Oh boy.
I think we need to have 3 rolls total, 2 successful rolls for this date.
Oh no.
This is what I did in my last game that I did, and I thought it was pretty good. So what we're going to do is 3 different skills.
Okay.
First one's going to be easy. Second one's going to be average. Third one's going to be hard. You can choose whatever skill.
And you said it has to be 3 different skills, correct?
3 different skills, yep. Use all the talents you want.
Oh, definitely going to be using talents because...
And if you're successful in the first 2, you can skip the third one, or you can roll it just in case you get advantages and triumphs and whatnot.
I'm gonna go with maybe deception, then leadership, and charm.
Okay.
Since charm...
They don't all have to be social if you don't want them to be.
It's maybe cool for one of them then? Cool leadership and charm, maybe?
I mean, could you squeeze lore in? Or... I don't know, perception?
Maybe education.
And just for you, I'm going to flip on the first one. I'm going to say that the steak that you got is a little overcooked. It's a little more well done than Blue would normally go for, and I think it's a little bit chewy. So the first one is going to be against 1 red.
Okay. You know what? In that case, I'm probably gonna go with cool for that one.
And how are you gonna make cool? What do you say or do to use cool in this situation?
Because she's a little nervous. Like, will they like it? How are they going to react if they don't like that? Basically using cool to keep. No, I don't know if
keep calm under pressure.
Yes, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, keep those nerves down.
Yes.
Yeah, so Blue takes a bite of that steak and starts chewing. It was a little chewy. It's a little overcooked for my tastes. Do you want me to call the waiter back, have them take this back?
She bites her lip and shakes her head. No. I mean, it's a medium. Maybe, I guess, I don't know. Maybe you just are more used to medium rare. Or maybe they have a different... Their medium rare is closer to what I'm used to as medium. But it seems like such a small thing to send the food back for. And that cool check was 1 success, 1 advantage.
Okay, 1 success, 1 advantage. Great. Do you have an idea for your advantage?
Maybe despite it being a little tough for Blue, the seasoning is really well done.
Sure.
And at that point, Anames is actually going to take a bite herself, and her eyes kind of widen slightly, and she says, "Wait, is that a hint of chocolate I taste?" What?
Yep, might be.
He offers him another bite. Like, what do you think?
He takes it. That's funny. It's a little spicy, too. Kind of unexpected.
I never heard of...
Here. He cuts off a piece of the clawfish and passes it to you as well. Try this. It's pretty good.
She wasn't quite prepared, so she's kind of like and then brings her hand up over her mouth as she chews, and then nods her head. That's really good.
Citrus.
Yes, it's very strong, but I would have thought that would be overpowering, but it works.
There's something herby. I don't recognize it.
She frowns for a moment.
Oh, is this your education check?
You know what? Yes. Freaking not. And so that would be 2 purple?
2 purples, yep.
And automatic advantage. Wait, no, not automatic advantage. 1 success, 1 advantage.
1 success, 1 advantage. What is that herb?
That will be Chandril Thyme.
Chandril Thyme. Blue looks thoroughly impressed. I'm impressed that you knew that. I should have known it. My dad cooked with it all the time.
She shrugs, blushing slightly. Well, I mean, it is kind of faint. There's a lot else mixed with it. But it wasn't something we cooked with much growing up. But I do remember, there were some cooking classes related to, I guess you could call it diplomacy classes. That included food and so forth.
Wait, you didn't tell me that you took cooking classes.
They weren't, it was literally, it was a diplomacy course and they included 2 things about foods.
No. Why are we at a restaurant when you clearly know how to cook?
I know more about how things taste than how to make food. I'm good with making things to look at. Making things to eat is harder.
All right.
I mean, I could try sometime, but it's easier to work with wood or stone. Less risk of charring something.
The 2 of you continue your meals. What do you talk about?
I think they might actually talk about a new holo novel that was scheduled to come out and has been delayed because of the political changes.
What is this holo novel?
Theorem of Passion.
Theorem of Passion. Yeah, so the 2 of you talk about the Theorem of Passion and all the hype about it. And yeah, how do you think the rest of the night goes? I mean, you passed 2 out of 3. You can roll the 3rd one if you'd like, but it was a good date.
I'm going to, looking at what the 3rd one would be, I'll pass on rolling the 3rd one.
You're going to pass on rolling the 3rd one?
2 dice on my side versus 3 dice on yours. I'm passing. The last thing I want is something this date, it's been going very well, to suddenly crash and burn at the end.
Hey, you've got the chance of a You've got the chance of a triumph, though.
True. Alright, you've convinced me.
Or do you want to do? I mean, you 2 went to the history museum. Do you want to do a lore check?
You know what? That gives me the chance of 2 triumphs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go with 2 triumphs, or possibility 4. 0 successes, 1 threat. Why did I let you talk me into this?
That's my job. So what did you attempt to talk about?
So she was actually continuing on talking about the novel, and she decided to compare it. She was talking about, like, well, what if the heroine, because the whole thing it's about a anthropology student who is interning at the museum. So she was making some comparison between the heroine and in connection with one of the exhibits, and it just
kind of fell flat.
It fell flat.
Yeah.
And she basically ended up looking completely dorky.
As the meal winds down and Afka brings out the check, it begins to rain outside. Heavy downpour of rain.
Anames, I think it's probably heavy enough that you can, like, it's not just you see it, you can hear it.
Yeah, you can hear it hammering on the roof. This restaurant is close enough to the surface that you can see the sky and you can feel the rain, not just the runoff.
And she gets this kind of crestfallen look.
Well, that puts a damper on our walk.
I didn't know it was supposed to rain at all tonight. I didn't bring anything.
Yeah, I didn't either.
She kind of looks around, trying to think, like, well, I mean, I guess we could go hang out at the casino till it stops raining.
The casino?
Somewhere dry.
Okay.
It would be, because it would be a little awkward to just stay here, and I'd rather avoid getting completely drenched tonight.
When you were looking around for just sort of looking for an idea, you saw Afka off in one of the corner with wide eyes making a little something tiny between his fingers gesture. The bug.
She moves her hand to her pocket, but doesn't really do anything, just kind of in her pocket. You kind of tell that she's just fidgeting a little, because this is... Yeah, the rain disrupted her plans. It's uncomfortable.
Well, I guess we'll go to the casino then.
She smiles. I mean, you could tell she's disappointed, because she really did like the idea of going to the park. But, I mean, it's something, and at least it'll be dry.
Yeah. The two of you exit Verve and make your way from awning to awning, trying to stay as dry as possible.
Yeah, I'm thinking there's some not quite cuddling, but definitely kind of huddling together to try and minimize. And she's also going to, with that, she's gonna try and move the bug to hit, like, a pocket or something.
Oh, you're gonna use your force power move.
I wasn't thinking of that, but that actually does
Okay.
sound like a good idea. That does sound just more practical. On the flip side, if I do that, then the bug might get wet.
It's true.
So she is going to start out trying to just do it by hand, and if that does not work, if she's not able to, then she'll just try do it with move. But
Well, it's gonna be a stealth check against one red.
oh boy. I was hoping the red decides to stay asleep.
You wanna flip one of your light side points?
No, I mean, no successes, but I did get an advantage. So she didn't manage to get it on him?
Uh-huh. I think you managed to get your hand held.
Yeah. But the advantage, I'm going to say the advantage is he didn't notice what she was doing.
Okay. Yep.
At which point, then at this point, I will use move.
I think they took it as you trying to go for some sort of physical touch, and they took your hand.
Aww.
And as you are moving from awning to awning, they've got the one side of their jacket up above, since they're a bit taller than you, to keep you dry, and you roll the light side.
I did.
So what do you do?
So, I mean, it's definitely silhouette 0.
Mm-hmm.
And...
It's like silhouette negative.
Right? It's silhouette -1.
Yeah.
And...
Teeny tiny.
I mean, this is not short range. This is engaged. So it's she just kind of pulls it. Yeah, when he took her hand, she kind of moved it, kind of tucked it between a finger or two. So she just pulls it, lightly pulls it out of there and just kind of hovers it so it goes right underneath his jacket. But,
okay. It goes into like a back pocket.
Yeah, or the inside of his jacket where he's holding it over her.
Yeah. Okay. And the two of you make it to the Golden Gundark. There's a screen lamp. We should pick up with Mir doing what Mir is going to do next. Where is Mir going? He got the feelings of the lingering feelings from the people who did this, of almost like elation, joy, but like mean joy, if that is even a thing. It's the joy of a task almost being complete, of some dark project nearing completion.
I think after gathering the new brothered crystal to him, he'll scoop up some of them and put them as close back to the cluster as they could and kind of throw some dirt on top of them. Hopefully they take root, but knowing that they probably wouldn't, he'll take the one up, and I imagine he sends out a distress call to Kring, his buddy, to bring him a jump eventually on his way up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we end up back at the noodle shop, behind the noodle shop, on the workbench, working on getting to know this crystal and what it's like to have a brother again. That use of the word would easily trigger something in Mir of protection over weaponization.
Trying to get to know a Kyber crystal. I think it is difficult. There's a language barrier, almost. Maybe even an intellectual barrier between you and this other crystal. You haven't spent, I guess you have spent time trying to understand Kyber before. And what you get is that this one, you've only ever had that Kyber you found in the wall in Torn Station with Danto. And it's a very similar experience. It's this piece it's the same color, it's the same level of idea and communication that you get from it, but ultimately it's very rudimentary at the surface. I think to get more from it, you would have to try to connect to it in the Force, try to understand it in that way.
I think with him having experience with the Kyber crystal from Torn Station that was used in a lightsaber before, used by an old ancient Jedi to defend a village.
Yeah, Mon Calamari.
They were able to, I think that helps him quite a bit in knowing how to deal with this particular Kyber crystal. Considering he used the other Kyber crystal to make the Finder previously, I don't think it will be much of a stretch to do another one similar to that with this crystal.
Gonna try and make another machine.
And it would be I think making another machine to help it be mobile, to give it more of a presence, more ability to interface with the world would help it on its journey.
Okay. As you start putting things together, you're floating things around. Your roommate knows your secret, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And I think he's hovering.
I found this crystal down below. I'm trying to give it an ability to talk with us, to find its other people. It's lost. It lost its... Bad people have taken its family from it. Yeah. I wouldn't dare. You've asked me not to, and I respect that. You know, I told you from the moment we got going on, being roomies, I know you are Tal's proud, and I know that you like speaking it, and I told you I would translate for you whenever I could, so I respect that.
He starts poking at the bits and pieces that you've got out on the table.
I've built one of these before. I had the way the interface worked was the crystal kind of spun around and pointed in the direction of the cluster. I had various parts and, yes and no. They can have memories and they can present emotions. So you're saying I should have the other thing spin? Well, that's easily doable. We could just put it on a different, rotation and then have it spin, and I'd have to go find a couple eyeballs. No, eyeballs from like droids and stuff. There's still plenty of... That's true. I didn't think I could do that. I wonder if I could do that. Can I do that? People modding, that's a thing, right? Organics mod. Organics mod with inorganic stuff all the time. I suppose it could be done backwards. I didn't think of that. I think you're right. I think that's a bad way to, not the smartest way to go right now. I could see organic folk really looking down upon that, going the other way. That being said, I'm going to mark that down for something to think about later. Thanks, Kring. That'll be, a thing to keep in mind. Some things don't go both ways.
He settles in to watch you work. You can get a mechanics check. I think this is going to take some time. I would like a total of 2 successful checks out of 3.
2 out of 3.
Different skills.
Okay. We'll go mechanics for 1.
First one's going to be easy. Second one's going to be average. Third one's going to be hard. So choose carefully.
I'm thinking for my easy check, I'm going to need the parts, so I'm going to have to do a little bit of skullduggery.
Where are you going to do the skullduggery?
Being on Dak Avenue, there would be piles and cleanup areas. I think Future Forward Galactic probably got the rights to clean up the area, so go down on their compound.
Yeah, they definitely got the contract.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see going down to Mitch and Sons and going down there and just saying, I need to check on, go down to Farvo's vessel if it's still there, break in and, use the workshop. It was a really good workshop if it's still there. I could see going over to, or just asking around, see if there's other mod shops that have that supplies. I guess there's various droid parts and various people that like these sort of trinkets.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he wants to stay local, so he'll stay up in DAC and not go down to Mitch and Sons.
Okay.
He does. I don't think he likes going down there very often.
So you're going to try and sneak around the Future Forward Galactic cleanup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the easy one, right?
Yep.
That is 2 successes, 1 threat.
Okay. 1 threat, you say? I'll just mark that down.
Okay.
Actually, no. We're going to be a little more interesting with that. So, yeah, what do? You go, what does this place look like? What are they actually doing? At this point, I think the big ship is gone. The ship that was spanning the avenue. It's all taken care of. It's cleaned up. But there are still bits and pieces of droids that have been swept into corners, and there's still a bit of cleanup going on.
I think it took out one of the, almost like a city block that they're going to have to tear down.
Yeah.
And I think that they have that kind of curtained off.
Yeah.
And they're taking it up piece by piece. Or will they take it down and out? Yes. It makes sense that they would do both. And I think in that they have a trail of workers that come in on traffic on
like on
transports. Yeah. With their big drillers that they're taking out. And I think they're separating it between construction debris and household debris. And I think there's probably a contract with a repurposing group.
Yeah, I'm sure they have stuff that goes into recyclers and stuff that they send off world to one of the junk planets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I imagine that there's an Ugnaught squad that probably got a contract on that.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see Mir going down there, picking through parts and trying not to get put into the recycling bin and while trying to pull stuff out of the recycling bin at the same time.
Yep. I think with your threat, at one point you get chased off by a group of Ugnaughts who see you grabbing bits and pieces out of a bin, and with that, I think we'll add a setback for a piece that you're going to have to work around on your next check.
I like that.
But you gather everything up and avoid too many complications. Pass by a group of Imperial troopers on your way back to the apartment behind the noodle shop.
Hey, Kring, when did the Republic troopers become Imperial troopers? Why would you want to be an Empire opposed to a Republic? It doesn't seem like you get much say in the government anymore. I suppose that makes sense. Yeah, I bet the Emperor's probably a pretty good guy to be able to unite the Republic and give it a good vision forward. Well, and that was a pretty crappy war. Oh, it must be a good one. I've been busy. Dang it. Well, maybe I'll watch it later. Are you sure you don't want a translator? I got some extra parts. Just saying. No, but I got some. I heated up the broiler over there. One of them's got some weird mash in it. It's a new batch. Yeah, I used a radiator for a new batch of Sparky juice. I think it's the right. I think it's the right recipe. I lost it with my old body, so it's new. So it's just So be mindful. Don't turn it up too much, or it'll blow up. All right.
Starts whistling as he cooks.
Let's go. I think this is the mechanics check.
This is your average check. Don't forget you still have 2 light side points.
I knew.
And a reroll.
Yeah, so let's go with the computer's check.
Okay. I'm going to flip a dark side point on this one. As you have gathered parts and all this stuff, your roommate has begun a cooking adventure and used a portion of your work table to set things up, chop some vegetables, get ready for the next stage in their feast. They've since cleared out from that table, but things have been put out of place. Yeah.
And he likes to put things in pots, so I imagine that a lot of the parts got put in pots and have to lay it out like a big old fish boil yet again.
Yep.
Kring, is this the cleaning water or is this the cooking water that you have my parts in? Oh, so it's both. Okay, cool. Perfect. I'm going to use my computers to work on the digital part, I guess it would be the analog part since we're Star Wars still.
Yep. Do you have any talents you can use? Anything like that?
I have tons of talents. Yeah, I have technical aptitude, which reduces the computer-related task. So
okay. It just reduces time?
Yeah, it just reduces time.
Okay. And you have mental tools. So you can have a boost for having the right tools for the job. You don't even need your mental tools right now. You have your actual tools.
I have my actual tools. And then, all right, so this is my average.
Yep.
And
with one red, a red and a purple.
I'll flip on that.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4 successes and 2 successes.
Okay. 2 successes.
2 successes.
Nothing else?
Nope. Your red die came up blank.
Great. So it definitely takes 25% shorter than it would take anybody else. What does it look like when you're doing this thing?
I think this is the part where he's got all the parts laid out in the wiring grid, and the harness is laid out, and this is where he's soldering them together and making sure all the parts are working. He's checking. He's got it plugged into himself to power it, and he's got it plugged into the device to make sure that he can communicate with it and it can communicate with him. I think there's a lot of talking back and forth, and I think there's a lot of searching and trying to get it dialed in to the right frequency, I guess it would be.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And you get this bit of it put together. You get the computer components and parts put together. You can still roll the third one because you'll get the chance at a triumph, probably, if you roll it. Or you can skip the third roll because you did succeed twice.
Oh, yeah. For sure I'm going to roll it. Because why wouldn't I?
Yeah. Why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't I?
Flip a dark side point.
I'll flip back on it. This would be the mechanic check to make it all look functional and make it usable for itself and for me, I guess.
So like last bits of fine tuning and cosmetic.
Yeah. What else can I do to this thing?
I guess it depends on if you roll advantages and triumphs.
That's true. I am an inventor. When constructing new items or modifying attachments, add a blue or remove a black per rank of inventor.
You could use that on the last check. You can use it on this one.
I'll use it on this one. And I wish manipulate worked cooler, but
I'll let you add your force rating for manipulate. Did you add the setback to that previous roll?
I did.
Okay.
Setback because they're scavenged parts.
Yeah. We'll do a setback because they're scavenged parts. I don't really have any other ones.
All right. No triumphs, no despairs. We are balanced in the force. We end up with, one light, one dark. We end up with, you two cancel out, one success.
Okay.
Yeah, one success, one threat.
Here's a question for you. Adam was gracious enough to give you a reroll. With Donate for Destiny rerolls, you just reroll the good dice. You keep the bad dice.
This is a good roll to do that on. Does that include force dice? They're pretty good. Or do I just reroll the light side?
You reroll the light side.
Which would make perfect sense with a triumph, a dark side, of course, because that's greedy. And so it ends up with 2 advantages, 2 successes, 1 triumph, 2 dark side.
Okay. The option for you to tap into the dark side is there. I think moving the tools around is simple enough. You can do that without accessing greater portions of the force, without really pulling the force to you. But you could tap into the dark side. You could use those as advantages. It is there. It's waiting. It's ready to help.
I don't think
the idea of revenge keeps coming up as you're working on this.
It absolutely does.
Tap in, or do you push it aside?
As much as he wants to turn this into some sort of explosive device or something to be used as using itself for revenge, at this point, I think he's going to suppress that. Having Kring in the background really helps.
Yeah.
Calm Mir. I think he's the companion that I don't think Mir does well by himself.
Yeah.
I think he needs that person to help guide him.
The sounds of this towels humming in the background and water running or pots and pans moving around is the constant reminder that Mir is not alone.
And I think that's a good thing for him.
So how many advantages and how many triumphs did you get?
1 triumph, 2 advantages.
Okay. So what does this thing look like when it's all done?
This looks like, it looks like starts off with a joystick with a kind of a square base on top. Almost looks like a data pad. And I think the data pad has markings on it. Then it rotates, while at the center is the crystal that is showing. It's like inset, like a gem in an eyeball socket with little prongs holding it. And it's got its own little energy source in there. And it doesn't spin, but the base around it does spin.
Okay. And with your triumphant advantages, what does this do?
Turns into an arc welder. It's a
lightsaber.
It's a lightsaber. What does it do? What can I do with it?
You did not use your force die, so I don't think it can be force related. I had the idea that maybe it could be like this thing is concealed in the force, like people cannot feel the Kyber. But I think since you did not use your force, did not use the dark side, you probably shouldn't do that.
Is it like can I use it like a shield?
Like the backing is reinforced? Like a physical shield?
Like it could emit a protective shield.
Huh.
Like, you know how...
you found some droidica parts.
Oh, droidica, yeah.
It's kind of ridiculous, but I like it.
It's used for defense opposed to attack. While it would be...
How many advantages did you get?
2.
So what does a droidica shield do in this game? Shield protector. Maneuver to activate, deactivate. While active, gain 2 defense. Upgrade the difficulty of combat checks, targeting once. But you cannot move while you use it. I'd say if you want to have found that, with your 2 advantages, we can have 2 uses. With your triumph, it exists, and you could repair it in the future to have more uses. So you can activate it twice and keep it active as long as you want, but you can't move while you use it.
Sweet.
It's very weird. I like it. I think you're just small enough that it would work and work around you.
Yeah.
So as you get this small compass machine together, you hold it out in front of you with the force, and your roommate, Kring, looks back over his shoulder and looks at it and gives you a nod, thumbs up, and then goes back to his cooking.
Smells great, buddy. Thanks.
And there's a screen white. Thanks for listening to this episode of Coruscant Nights. Thank you to AJ and Rill for playing. You can find AJ's art on Instagram at AJ_Kimball. And you can find all of us on the Nightcast Discord, a friendly community of Star Wars fans and gamers.
Mechanical Corners RPG.
Mechanical Corners RPG.
Mechanical Corners RPG.
You heard us right. It's me, Morgul.
And me, Dem.
And we're breaking the fourth wall to talk about a new Kickstarter project by Mark, the guy behind Nightcast Creative.
That's right.
Do you like mysteries?
I do.
Do you like crime?
How do you think we've been staying in business so long?
Do you love RPGs?
I listen to the show, don't I?
Well, then you'll love the Mechanical Corners RPG.
Tell me more.
The Mechanical Corners RPG is all about the heist. Roll the dice and collect cards when your thief is helpful. If you've got the most at the end of the session, you get to narrate how you got away with the loot while leaving everyone else in your dust.
Steal diamonds as a loaf of bread.
Forge a painting as a robot hamster.
Make your getaway as a swarm of hummingbirds sharing a bird feeder as your core.
The sky's the limit.
That sounds too good to be true.
But wait, there's more.
Mechanical Corners hits Kickstarter February 4th.
February 4th.
February 4th.
Come help us bring this project to life.
Look for a link in the show notes.
Mechanical Corners RPG.
Mechanical Corners RPG.
Mechanical Corners RPG.
Coruscant Nights is a production of Nightcast Creative. For more about us and the things that we make, visit nightcastcreative.com.